discussing the question. It's a very simple question. Ethics plays an important role in sports. In this context, so you don't have to forget the statement 1. In this context means you have to keep into mind this statement. So in this context, explain the importance of the virtues of fairness, integrity, responsibility and respect for the sportspersons, right? So it's a very easy question, simple question. Okay. Yes. So how do you structure this? How do you structure this question? Introduction, body, conclusion. Please tell me, how do you structure your answer? Okay. One of you had said that you will write about the absence of values in the body. Rather than writing absence of the values, it is importance of the values. So it does not say these values are absent. Better way would be to write about the importance of values rather than writing about absence of values, like fairness nahi rahega to kya rahega. It would be better you focus upon directly on the importance. You have an introduction. Somebody said they would write in an introduction a definition of ethics. No, better would be, see, there was one statement which says that in this context, so ethics and sports, right? So a better introduction would be linking ethics with sports rather than writing the definition of sports. Okay. So how will you introduce? You will talk about the ethics in sports. Then you write about the importance of virtues. You write 2-3 bullet heads about the importance. And then you give example. One example to each to substantiate. So there should be one example for each values, like fairness, integrity, respect. That should be there for each one. Okay. And the conclusion can be for overall, not after every virtue. Yes. So how did we go? We started with introduction. In the introduction, we mentioned about the importance of ethics in sports because the question was in the context. So secondly, then we talked about each virtue. We talk about the importance of each virtue in the bullet heads, give examples for each virtues, and then we conclude overall. Is the structure fine? What happens is, many people, they focus on this, that they'll write many points in the bullets and they'll not write example. So what happens? Fairness, integrity, respect. Sab pe same points aa jayenge. Rather than write two points, only 2 points, and then substantiate with the example. Okay. So when we write about introduction, we say that why ethics is important in sports. When we talk about introduction, we say the importance of ethics in sports. Each time in ethics, you think in 2 ways, either the stakeholders or the syllabus. So in the sports, you talk about the stakeholders. Think of the stakeholders in terms of performer, the fan, and the sport in itself. Okay. So even in the introduction, you try to think from their angle, from their perspective. So what do we say? How can we introduce in this question? You say that a sport is a very competitive field. Somebody had mentioned this. Yes. So it basically wants to test human endeavor, human potential, right? That is the idea of sports, right? And fans appreciate the sports because of this, right? So it is very important to have ethics in sports. So has to have the essence of the sport is retained. Okay. The very essence of the sport should be retained because it's a competitive field. Each one wants to actually challenge the other to the maximum possible extent. So yes, it is very important that we follow ethical practices in the sports, right? So you introduce in the context, in this context, that why ethics is important in the sports. Then from the sports, you talk about the structuring of each values. Okay. Many of you said that you have struggled writing definition. So in the bracket, the red colored, I've just written the definition in very crisp form so that it becomes easy for you to remember. Okay. So yes, you start with the virtue. You start with the virtue of fairness. Then when you write about fairness, you write the definition of fairness. What do we mean by fairness? Fairness means being just, being fair to everybody. Yes, that's the simple definition of fairness. Then you write about why fairness is important in sports. Why? To ensure level playing field. Each one of them, each one of the players, they are actually striving maximum to win. Yes, and each one of them is struggling to the greatest human potential. Yes, so there should be fairness to ensure level playing field, so that the other person does not feel any act as unjust act towards him. Yes, then you can also talk about the golden principle of ethics, which says that, you know, that do unto others what you expect others to do unto you. Okay, so you can talk about, this is the importance of fairness. How do you substantiate? People who do not have good interest in sports, please do not lose heart. You can take from you can use these examples, and those who have knowledge of knowledge of sports, you have n number of points in your plate. Yes, so when we talk of example, a few interesting example was, you know, Muhammad Ali. He was banned for playing because he refused to participate in Vietnam War. World history, right? So USA was an active participant in Vietnam War. So it made it compulsory for the participant to participate in the Vietnam War. Yes. So because he refused to participate in the Vietnam War, he was banned. Such an act is an unfair act, because you are not judging a person on the basis of merit, and it's something on the basis of merit and something related to the rules of the sports. So you cannot ban such a person. So this is being unfair to a sports person. You can write about it. Okay, if you do not know such good examples or such, you know, specific examples, you might hear from, even if you have a basic knowledge of cricket, you will say that the pitch actually favors the batsmen or the bowlers or the field players. This is one thing actually we talk about generally. So you can talk about the pitch curator. Sometimes it tends to benefit the homeland versus the pitch. So it should not happen, because it leads to unfairness against the team, and it is against the norm of the level playing field. So you can write general example also. There's another example. Okay, learn from this question. Whenever, you know, ethics and sports comes, you have to write about these 4 values. That is fairness, integrity, respect, and responsibility. Okay. Yes, there can be n number of example: anti-doping test, then false injuries, fake injuries. You can write about you can write about them in fairness or integrity also. Responsibility may you can write them that it's irresponsible behavior to act fake injuries, to act as fake injuries. Yes, so you can use examples under various head. You should know how to actually curate them to the demand of the question. Okay. Yes, so coming back to the question was the fairness, importance of fairness. We talked about 2 examples. One was Muhammad Ali example, the other is common example of pitch curator. Then the third example is the apartheid era cricket. In the apartheid era cricket, the blacks were discriminated. They were not allowed to participate in cricket. That is being unfair, because the discrimination was not on the basis of merit, but because of the race color. Okay. Yes, you can. Yes, that's very nice summing up. Okay. So yes, coming on to the fairness. Fairness may you can write about these examples. Okay. So how do you structure this answer? You write a crisp definition followed by 2-3 bullet heads of importance, and then you actually explain the value via examples. Okay. This is about fairness. Integrity. A crisp definition of integrity is steadfast adherence to values. No matter what the circumstances is or are, you will actually stick to your values and will not be swayed. That is known as integrity. So very crisp definition is steadfast adherence to the values. You will stick to your values. Okay. Okay. Then you write about the importance of integrity. Integrity is mother of all values. From integrity spells out all the values like, so it is mother. Mother means यहाँ से birth होएगा और भी values का. Honesty, uprightness, probity, selflessness, compassion, empathy. Okay. So you can write about integrity is a mother of all values. Yes. So it leads to, so it is important in sports. 1, and it also strengthens the moral framework of the game. Okay. So you've written 2 bullet heads of the importance. with a definition, a crisp definition followed by an example. What examples do we have in integrity? The workout, Sachin walks out. Yes, match fixing is can be said. One, fake injuries, you can say about Sachin, even if he's not declared out, he walks out of the field because personally he knows. So that's an integrity that he will stick to his values no matter what. Yes. Okay. The other example can be, a specific example can be Lance Armstrong. Okay, he was actually the winner for 7 consecutive years in a cycling competition, that is Tour de France. Okay, so but he was caught doping. So after doping, all the titles and everything, all the fame was taken off. So yes, you can write about doping. Doping is something against integrity. Okay, then can be a fake injury. Fake injury is against the integrity, right? Doping, fake injury, that these can be given as an example. Then followed by the other value was responsibility. Okay, so responsibility. You will see that irresponsible behavior of many sports person is that they will go into alcohol advertisement to earn money. So this is not a responsible behavior. That is not something, it's like unbecoming of a sports player, right? So you can give this as an example. Other responsibility is winning or losing. You cannot win every time. Whatever it is, whatever is the outcome, winning or losing, you have to be responsible, be prudent, be wise, do not lose your calm. So how do you link things? Okay, how do you link things? So either because of losing, there might be anger. One recent example was Novak Djokovic, right? He's #1 tennis player, but he lost. So actually, he actually unintentionally, he actually hitted a lineswoman. So because of that, he was disqualified despite being #1. So you have to be responsible for your emotions, for your image, for sports. So you can think on various lines like your image, your emotional intelligence, the sports. You can link responsibility into the various dimensions and then explain via example. Similarly, it was one of the value highlighted by Aristotle, who talked about prudence, right? Prudence is not to lose your calm and maintain temperament. So you can link responsibility with prudence of Aristotle. Okay. Respect. Respect was the other important value. So you can link respect on field, off field, okay, for the sports. Not only you have to behave responsibly on the field, but also you're off the field. Why? Because sports persons give inspiration to lot many people. Lot many people get inspiration from the sports person. So even your behavior off the field has to be such respectful that it does not offend anybody. Yes. Can somebody link with a recent example that off-field behavior was not, not respectful? Yes, yes. So why do we have to respect? So respect is on the field for the human, for the other person. You might hear about sledging in cricket. What happens in sledging in cricket? You actually compromise the dignity and respect for the other person. So it's not an ethical act. Okay, sledging is very common. The other is, yes, you mentioned about the 2 cricket players who were actually admonished by BCCI. Yes, you can talk about them. That was off the field. That is off the field. So respectful behavior on the field, off the field, and for the sports. Okay. Yes, yes. So, okay, you can talk about why do we need respect? In general life also, you have to respect the other person, because human dignity might be compromised if you do not respect. The same goes for sports. You have to have the respect for the other sports person, one. And because sport players give inspiration to lot many youth, so you have to have respect. That becomes off the field component. Okay, for the game, if you're giving heart and soul for the game, yes, you have to show respect. You might see that despite winning or losing, the teammates or the other opponents, they shake their hands. That is because of the respect they show it to the game, rather than to just the simple match that took place. It is the game and it is the overall sports which is important. So they shake hand despite losing. Okay, so that involves an element of respect. Is it fine? Is the structure fine? Is the structure fine? Introduction followed by structure. And how do you structure such values? You write about a crisp definition. Then you write the importance, 1, 2, 3. And then you give an example. So summing up with the stakeholders, not only the sports, but the players, but the other opponents. Yes, you can talk about that. You can talk about not only rules, but also the social makeup or the social engineering of the sports, right? Has to be changed. So you can talk about that. You can sum up, right? You can talk about sportsmanship. Okay. So that sportsmanship or the team spirit should inculcate values like integrity, respect, and responsibility, and can promote ethics in sports. Why? Because ethics in sports have ripple effect in the society. It actually affects the young mind. When it affects the young mind, it is one microscope which can actually change the whole society if followed by if the ethical values inspire young minds. Okay, so you can talk about the effects of ethics in sport and how it will benefit society in the longer run. Or you can talk about that sportsmanship is needed to preserve the game, spirit of the game, and have a fair play.